Welcome to the Submonitor. Earlier this week, I filmed a follow-up video about the Cairo airport bus experience. Instead of having a script and reading it off a teleprompter, I opted for a more natural flow. I wrote down some key takeaways from our trip and then used that to have a more improvised talk from there. It did feel much better, and it seems to be a better match for my style. However, one of the issues that came up was that the video ended up being longer than expected. Therefore, while editing, I decided to split the video into two smaller segments. Also, without me noticing, my camera went into a standby mode after 10 minutes of video taking. However, I was still recording voiceover for it. This means that part of the video that's coming up might not feature any of the footage that I took, and will rather only feature my voiceover and any other relevant maps or photos added in post-editing. Thank you so much for your patience, and now, back to the video. Hello and welcome to a new video from the Submonitor. My name is Mo, and I will try to talk today about our experience of the Cairo airport bus. Originally, the video was supposed to be a follow-up to the video I made a couple of months ago with regards to the condition of public transport links between Cairo International Airport and downtown Cairo. And since we've had the chance to go to Cairo ourselves recently for Eid holidays, we were able to get a personal perspective on how not only the Cairo airport links work, but also a bit personal experience on how it feels like to be in public transport with a non-native person. I've lived in Cairo for a long time and I'm kind of used to buses in Cairo. However, my partner, my wife, is not, and is new, has never been to Egypt before, so that it was kind of interesting to see how the dynamics work. And in the setup for this video, I have written up some notes, and I've asked also my wife to contribute if possible, if she would like to add notes with regards to her own experience as well, and gladly and gratefully she did. And so this is our joint experience together as a couple traveling down in Cairo with public transport. So in general, like not going specifically to Cairo airport, one of the main things that we experienced during our travel together as a couple was that it's actually quite easier than I originally thought. Like I originally thought that it might be quite difficult to have such an experience, of like or at least somewhat pleasant experience in public transport. However, we did in most cases. Of course, there were instances where we had some challenges, and I will mention that in the video. So I'll break down the different issues that we faced based on the mode of transport, and then start from the worst to the best, so that we end up also with good news. So one of the worst experiences we had with public transport as a couple, as one of the couple being non-native, the other being a local, was microbuses. And not for the reasons people think of. So the concept of the microbus is quite common in many African nations, but also in the Middle East and North Africa, and it's basically more like a shared taxi, and it highly depends on demand. So if there is enough demand to get for people wanting to go from A to B, then there will be more frequent services, because then there will be more drivers willing to take people, and the wait time between the different vehicles will not be that long. And we had, like, once the microbus actually operated and we were on the road, it was quite pleasant. It wasn't that bad. The main issues was that the actual seat itself, the microbus seat, was not big enough. The vehicle was quite small, and despite how small it is, it actually has seats for 13 passengers or for 12 passengers. Compare this to a minibus that is actually like a Mercedes Evo minibus that has seats for 9 passengers and standing places for 20, even though it's slightly bigger than the microbus, which tells you how packed the microbus is, the standard Egyptian microbus. And that's understandable. These are private vehicles owned by private individuals, and pretty much um, it's an SUV, the size of an SUV almost, or slightly bigger than an SUV. And so therefore it's quite packed and dense with passengers. And I've had this problem before, but I've never really thought about it. And sitting in the microbus seat and having my knees tight and bent at the next seat in front of me. Now, the other factor, and this is from my wife, these are notes from my wife, is that the driver, he was quite young as well. He did not speak English at all. In fact, he was quite surprised that there are people who do not speak Arabic, and he was very friendly, of course, and asking us in a very friendly way what language we were speaking and how it sounds like and what's the difference between English and German and so on and so forth. So it kind of felt very different, and she said that she wouldn't have taken a microbus without an Arabic speaker by her side, or at least when her Arabic was a little bit more advanced so she can communicate, which is the other detractor from the microbus thing, that you really need to be able to communicate with verbally with the driver, also with the passengers, because when the driver stops for your stop, you call for your stop, you ask the driver to stop where you would like to get off the microbus, and then you'd have to speak to the passengers. If they're not paying attention, you'd have to also tell them, please can you give me a way to get out of my seat. So it requires a lot of verbal communication, and if you're the kind of person who wants to avoid communication publicly, or you're not in the mood basically to talk to other people, the microbus will force you to do that, and that's not necessarily the most comfortable way. We move on to the next mode of transport, which are CTA buses. And surprisingly, I was quite surprised. They were very, very good in terms of their consistency. So yes, there are some challenges regarding the cleanliness of certain buses, the quality of the air conditioner, etc. But all in all, they had a persistent and continuous service. We knew that after 10 p.m. probably there won't be that many buses, which is also one of the challenges that we face, is that they run less frequently after 10 p.m. and some lines don't have any more buses running on their routes after 2 p.m. which is kind of strange, because the last metro trains, for example, they run by midnight or slightly after midnight. So therefore, the fact that even the buses don't wait for the metro to run through its course is kind of weird, in a sense, that they don't link up together or don't sync together. But that's understandable, given there's a lot of I would have a lot of theories regarding the institutional character of these different services, but this video is just focusing about our personal experience. So from our personal experience, we would have, one of the challenges we faced with buses was the time that it would not run more frequently at night, and if we're going out at night, we would like to take the bus. However, we had pretty decent experiences with the air-conditioned Cairo Transit Authority buses. They're the greenish yellow teal buses that are run recently. Some of them are double-deckers, but most of them are single level, and they're all quite interesting because they also have different seating formats. So within the same bus, there is foldable chairs, probably for people with disabilities, but there's also part of the bus has a slightly elevated. It's obviously to be it's over the wheels, and there is more space there, more legroom. And we, for example, took one of these buses to Cairo Airport, so we were able to put our trolleys, which are cabin-sized bags, at right in front of our seats, and we had space to do that within our seats. We didn't have to pay extra for taking an extra seat, for example, for our bags, which was really great. The other issue is the fact that the buses, even though they stick to the routes mostly, the stops are not fixed. So, and I see this as a problem, when I spoke to my wife about this, she actually prefers the current system, which is interesting. She's German, and she said she likes the system, but she has a point though, because she said that it would be safer for women actually to exit closer to home, even if it's not the actual bus stop per se. And quite frankly, this is actually interesting to see it from this perspective. And it's difference in opinions. I feel like that, especially during the day, maybe at night they could change how they operate, but during the day, at the very least during peak hours, it would be nice if there were specific set bus stops where the bus would stop, so that people know where to wait for the buses and not have to chase after them or wave at them and do a lot of acrobatics to try to flag down the bus and take it. So yeah, maybe it could be that we could reach a compromise, could be reached where the buses are during the day and during rush hour they're stopping at specific stops only, and at night or early morning they could stop at non-bus stops per se to pick up people, especially older people or women or children, etc. So now we go to the metro, and the metro is the most reliable of all modes, and I highly recommend that if you are a tourist who's staying a few days in Cairo, if you're a visitor, if you are a foreigner who's having a prolonged trip into Egypt or want to live in Egypt. I highly recommend buying a metro card, charging it up using one of the machines that are available at many of the metro stations, especially on the third line, and using that metro card, because the metro is the most efficient, most user-friendly mode in Cairo to date. And it's ever increasing. Like, that's one of the good things about the metro, is that the metro is an expanding network. However, one of the challenges that we face in the city in Cairo is that the metro is not expanding as fast enough as we would like it to have it, like ideally much faster. But these are very expensive projects that require tunneling through a lot of different terrain and different soil, and so it's understandable that these metro projects take time to be completed, and so therefore for the time being there are only three lines, although they do cover most of the central parts of Cairo. So, and yeah, basically the metro is one of the most reliable modes of transport. I highly recommend that. The other issue with metro stations, from my point of view, is that they don't have for the time being, don't have first mile, last mile shuttle buses per se. Meaning that there are several metro stations that are very close to Cairo airport. There has been talk about a shuttle bus to the airport. This is still work in progress, but for the time being there isn't any form of shuttle bus even to the nearest metro station, like in Heliopolis Square or Midan ElHegaz, basically, and so on and so forth. Please like and subscribe, and if you like the content I make, you can either subscribe to my Patreon, which the link will be on the screen, or you can also leave us some change at Coffee. If you just want to have a one-time contribution. Also, if you would like to know more about the latest videos I'll be making or other topics I'll be publishing, you can follow my Facebook page or our website. The link will be on the screen as well. And you can also write to me on email, by email, sorry. Write to me by email if you have any questions or if there are any topics you'd like to suggest with regards to transport. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye.